Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next The Promised Neverland anime review. This one's going to be for episode 7, which was a very, very intriguing episode. This one obviously was all about Sister Crone revealing information to our kind of main kids, and I suppose trying to gain their trust, while they're also, I suppose, figuring out just how much they can trust her. Do they fully accept that she is doing this to gain the position of mom from Isabella, and she is just wanting to help them escape? I think it was really helped early on by her straight away revealing she has a number 2. She grew up in one of these houses in just a different plant. And the big reveal here that any girl who survives long enough in the house and is shipped out at the age of 12 is basically given the chance to become a mom in training. And they can either choose to, I suppose, accept that or just die. And it gives so much extra depth to both Crone and Isabella, in that they go from just being villainous kind of traitors in terms of like, why are they just accepting like killing all these kids who they're raising and then sending off to die? But they understand it themselves, and because basically they chose the only path that would lead them to surviving. And obviously, I think in both cases you can tell that that decision has ultimately over time changed them with whatever process they go through to train to become a mom. It's really interesting to think about that's why there's a kind of crazed aspect to Crone, and how it's clearly broken her in some way, hence why she kind of carries the weird doll around. And then Isabella is obviously so like calculating, like that had to come from somewhere. Obviously both of them have to be very intelligent to obviously get high enough scores to, be offered the position. But that plus whatever training they've gone through has obviously morphed them into these kind of, insanely intelligent, calculating people who are willing to, just accept this position of basically, I suppose from their perspective, the happiest lives they could live, the only choice that they have, given that they didn't come up with the perfect idea to escape. It was either just accept dying or survive and kind of become part of what all of this is. That's the reveal I was kind of talking and hinting about in some of the earlier reviews. This reveal in terms of the basic idea of like the moms have a number came out much earlier in the manga. It's just a really casual reveal where they cut over to like Isabella in the mirror, and she kind of like pulls her kind of clothes down a little bit and shows the number, and they just leave it like that. Obviously it's this scene even in the manga where the full extent of it comes out, but just that kind of thing much earlier on of just planting that seed in your head of like, wait, she grew up here as well. How did she get into that position? And then the reveal later on is like, oh, she was given the choice, and this is the decision that she made. So we also get ages. That Crone is 26, Isabella is 31, and that's somewhat interesting, I suppose. It doesn't, I suppose, reveal too much to us about what's going on here. Just that like humans who are part of this have lived that long. Along with this, she kind of reveals to them that she knows a certain amount about kind of what's going on, but really doesn't know that much more than they do. That she's like, okay, as far as I'm aware, they heavily rely on the tracking thing, and if you manage to disable the tracking thing properly in some way, they really don't have that many guards, so you can actually escape. There is a path to escape in that there are humans out there who aren't, immediately eaten by demons, and that your clothes, your food is grown by humans who are part of this demon world, but, play their role in kind of shipping it to you. And I think that's just interesting in of itself, of just how does that happen? Like, we know it is this, like, sort of demon kind of society, but then, like, there are humans kind of involved in this in the first place. And the obvious question that comes up then is, where are all these kids coming from? Are they being taken? Like, if the demons are in full control of the world, where are all these new children coming from? In terms of like, what parents are they taking all these kids from? That's the really, really interesting dynamic that's going on in all of this. And obviously, I think this episode, like, without trying to spoil too much, like it hints, without really saying it, it hints at the answer to that with Crone and the doll and stuff like that, and the implication potentially about what was said in the letter that Crone picks up later on, and how Ray couldn't possibly know this, and it's just this sudden reveal that Ray knows about Isabella that he shouldn't know, and will like be this terrible thing for Isabella. That I thought was just kind of interesting teases about kind of how things are. In all of this, of course, we're getting the basic dynamic of both sides sort of feeling each other out. Crone knows how intelligent they are, and that they're going to see to a degree through what she's doing, but she accepts that because, you know, in a way, they're both now sort of locked into this situation where they have to rely on each other to a degree. She has to give them a certain amount of information, and by getting close enough to them, she might get the evidence that she needs. This is perhaps the one bit in all of this where, to me, it lost me a bit. And even reading the manga again, it still is a little bit confusing to me. In terms of, the basic idea here is that Crone is helping them to escape. She's going to not tell on them, seemingly, or anything like that, because if they escape on Isabella's watch, Crone realistically won't be punished, or at least all that much, and she might be put in place as the next mom here in this farm. So that makes, I think, complete sense. What confused me a bit was then Norman kind of going like, okay, but she's not like fully behind us. She's getting close to us because that way she can try and find evidence on us, because what she doesn't have right now is basically the clout. She doesn't have the trust from the demons. Isabella is higher up than her. She doesn't have evidence on us right now that we're doing anything. And I think because her motivations fundamentally, Crone's motivations fundamentally, are that she wants the position. You always have to think about it in terms of how does she get Isabella, out of the role that she's in right now. And what confused me was that, like, okay, if Crone is suddenly crazy searching for evidence on full proof, like undeniable proof that the kids are trying to escape, she's trying to get them kind of shipped off as soon as possible. So that basically stops the escape attempt if she gets the main five basically shipped off early. It gets her, I suppose, better credit, I suppose. And are they basically saying that her finding this out, this potential escape attempt, caused by some of the deluxe kind of food property here, would that get her enough of a reputation that she would be made a mom that way? And she sort of counteracts the idea of having to like defame Isabella in all of this. I felt they needed to go just that little step further to kind of explain more what the whole, but she needs evidence on us, she's trying to find evidence on us to also accomplish that goal. That she's sort of playing both sides. But it seemed like she was always against Isabella, yet one of those scenarios doesn't exactly explain how Isabella gets out of the situation that she's in right now. In that, what ends up happening in this episode, of course, is that in a way, we as the audience, but also the characters, have forgotten that Isabella's still there. She's been going under the radar because she's brought Crone in to do most of this kind of have a second pair of eyes, but outside of a few scenes with Ray, we haven't really seen what she's been up to, or how she is when she acts. And this is where her big move at the end is kind of so incredible in a way, in that it seems like, the kids are just able to do whatever they want. They're planning this whole escape. Mom doesn't know about it. And then she's suddenly onto it here immediately. She's prepared this without really saying anything or drawing attention to herself, hands over the letter, and is like, goodbye. You're being kind of shipped out. And it's this incredible reveal because it's like, in a way, Crone, like Isabella has used Crone to kind of get what she wants now, and now Mom is suddenly going to jump back into acting as much as she wants. So, big kind of shift in what's going on here, and obviously I think next episode's going to be very, very important, and we'll see exactly what happens. But yeah, like I said, I think the only thing lacking from this episode overall was just a better explanation. I think this is the same even in the manga. I don't think the manga does an amazing job about explaining the whole, but she's searching for evidence and like where that side of the plan exactly goes. Like they get across the idea that like, okay, if she does it that way, she manages to sort of in a way take out everyone at the same time. But like, does it? So that's definitely something that just needed a bit more. Other than that, like we see them continuing to plan the kind of escape, and like they're planning a little bit of a trial run to get more information to see how everything comes together. We see Ray get the camera, which is going to be his key part of the plan in terms of how he's going about breaking the tracking devices, which like. We had a couple of interesting scenes with him with the camera. One was obviously Mom giving it to him, Isabella giving it to him, and her acting a little kind of weird around Ray in this scene, in that like she just kind of lets him take the picture of her, like she smiles and is like, great, and other than that, there's just kind of like no real reaction. It was just a scene with the two of them. Then later on, he takes the picture of Emma and Norman and, calls them weirdos, which is a fun little scene. And it's just like, okay, he has this camera, that's going to happen here. But then he's also planning something else in the background with the whole, whatever the note was about. So, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. The tension, the atmosphere, the different sides kind of playing their own game to get what they want. That's what's really, really good about this series. There's not a lot of action as such happening, but the the maneuverings basically by different characters to fulfill their goals. That's what's so strong in this series. That's what's working so well. Just these little explanations here and there for certain actions are definitely what's working exactly here. In that Crone, I suppose, inadvertently teaches both Emma and Norman that they need to work on, I suppose, playing it cool in a better way. That they seem to have found this way to not really react to anything, but in doing so, they're kind of not acting natural, in that she can see just from these subtle facial expressions, subtle changes of emotion, and even just things like, oh yeah, you asked me that question, but you knew the answer, and because of that you didn't react, when anyone else, with me revealing that there's a tracking device in your ear, anyone else would have checked their own ear for it, but you didn't, and you have inadvertently revealed to me that you knew this already somehow, and puts her onto finding out some evidence. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Like, and I suppose going back to the whole evidence thing, like unless they're trying to say that unless they're trying to say that Crone getting evidence that they were trying to escape would be evidence against how good Isabella is, in that she's kind of let this go on, and let this go on without informing anyone. Like, I suppose that's maybe what they're getting at, that Isabella knows that some of the kids knew about what was happening here and has been lying and hasn't been shipping them out all that soon, and that it seems to be just a default rule that if anyone finds out about what actually is going on here, they get shipped out immediately. Isabella's holding back on that. That's why she brought kind of Crone in to a degree, and now this escape attempt would sort of put that over the edge, maybe. But yeah, if you can explain to me a little bit better about what exactly they were getting at with the whole Crone needing evidence and that being her sort of counterplay against them, and help me understand that a bit more, because as I said, even from the manga, I didn't really get the full extent of what they were going for with that, and how she gets Isabella out of the way in that case. But yeah, other than that, really, really good episode. But yeah, that's been a video. Thanks for watching, and bye.